Have you ever wondered why, in an age of incredibly comfortable skyscrapers and advanced technology, people are becoming more and more unhappy? Why in Dubai, with its golden hotels, people suffer from depression? Why in Singapore people take antidepressants en masse? And why in Hong Kong people live in apartments the size of a closet, but pay for them as if they were palaces? In Moscow, people spend up to 4 hours a day stuck in traffic. In Mumbai, millions live in slums in the shadow of luxurious towers. In Beijing, children can't see the sun because of smog. In New York, renting a one-bedroom apartment costs as much as a doctor earns in a year. It's the same story everywhere. Cities where people work in windowless offices and move through underground subways, not seeing the real sky for months. But there is a place where everything is different, where happiness is measured not by the size of a bank account, but by the quality of life. Where instead of traffic jams, there are mountain rivers, and instead of smog, clean Himalayan air. This is Bhutan, the only country in the world where happiness is written into the Constitution. Bhutan is a small country the size of Switzerland, located between India and China. Fewer than 1 million people live here, but they have created a unique system. Instead of chasing GDP, they measure national happiness. Television only appeared here in 1999. Bhutan was the last country on Earth without TV. To this day, there are no traffic lights in the capital. Police officers direct traffic with hand gestures. When they tried to install traffic lights, they only lasted a single day. The residents demanded to bring back live officers. By the Constitution, 60% of the land must remain covered by forest. Plastic bags and tobacco are completely banned. There isn't a single slaughterhouse. Bhutan is the only carbon-negative country in the world. Every tourist pays $200 a day just to be in the country. The result? No crowds of tourists, and nature stays untouched. In Bhutanese schools, children study not only math and physics, but also meditation, basic ecology, and traditional crafts. In hospitals, modern medicine is practiced alongside traditional Tibetan healing. In government offices, officials begin their day with a prayer for the well-being of the people. Bhutan is a constitutional monarchy, but King Jigme Khesar Namgyel Wangchuck voluntarily limited his own power by introducing democracy in 2008. He was just 28 years old when he came to the throne, and he immediately said, "Democracy is more important than monarchy." Nothing like this had ever happened in history. On the contrary, when in most countries, leaders try every possible way to increase their power and stay in office longer. Bhutanese people have amazing traditions. When someone offers you food, politeness requires you to refuse twice, saying meshu meshu and covering your mouth with your hands. Only on the third offer can you accept. The national dish is ema dachi, a spicy stew of chili peppers with cheese. Bhutanese people love spicy food and often drink salty tea with yak butter. The national sport is archery, but not the usual kind. The target is 480 feet away, twice the Olympic standard. Players wear bright traditional costumes and turn competitions into real festivals with songs and dances. The crime rate in Bhutan is one of the lowest in the world. Corruption is almost non-existent. Life expectancy has grown from 43 years in 1960 to 71 years now. Child mortality has fallen tenfold. Literacy has risen from 24% to 97%. But even in this paradise, a sudden crisis occurred, threatening the very existence of this unique civilization. Young Bhutanese started leaving the country. A programmer in the capital earned $300 a month, while his colleague in neighboring India earned $3,000. A doctor made less than a janitor in an American hospital. An engineer could only build traditional houses from wood and stone, but dreamed of bridges, skyscrapers, and professional growth. In just 5 years, more than 100,000 people left the country, a huge number for a population of less than 1 million. In some mountain areas, only old people and children remained. Schools were closing, hospitals stood empty, ancient fields became overgrown with weeds. It was especially painful that the most educated were leaving. Bhutan had spent millions to educate its young people in the best universities of the world, and they never came back. King Jigme understood, if nothing radical was done, within a generation, nothing would remain of Bhutan's miracle. The ancient culture would dissolve in globalization. The unique ecosystem would be abandoned, and the philosophy of happiness would remain only in museums. And so in December 2023, on his 44th birthday, the king announced a project that was meant to change everything. In the south of the country, in the Galefu Valley on the border with India, construction began on the City of Wisdom, a fundamentally new type of metropolis. The project won the support of Nobel Prize-winning economists Joseph Stiglitz and Michael Spence, the famous architect Bjarke Ingels, and even the head of Snapchat, Evan Spiegel. But how is Bhutan going to build a true city of happiness when neither Singapore with its technology nor Dubai with its billions has managed to do so? Their similar projects failed spectacularly. Galefu is not another shiny mirage like those built in the deserts of the Persian Gulf. It's not Dubai with its artificial islands and migrant slave labor. It's not Singapore with its sterile efficiency. It is something fundamentally new, a city built not to show off wealth, but for the real happiness of people. Imagine a city the size of Hong Kong, 950 square miles, but without a single skyscraper, where the tallest buildings are no higher than 6 stories, so as not to disturb the harmony of the mountain landscape, where instead of glass towers, there are living bridges with temples, hospitals, and an international airport inside, where a crystal-clear river flows through the heart of the city. This philosophy is radically different from anything we've seen before. While Dubai builds the Burj Khalifa at 2,717 feet tall to show dominance over nature, Bhutan builds bridges no higher than 50 feet, highlighting the beauty of rivers and valleys. While Singapore creates artificial gardens and glass domes that consume monstrous amounts of energy, Bhutan integrates real forests into the urban environment. Why do so many people already dream of moving to Galefu? In Dubai, you can buy a Lamborghini for $500,000, but you'll spend 3 hours in traffic in 120 degrees Fahrenheit heat. In Monaco, you can afford a $10 million yacht but live in a small apartment without a garden, surrounded by concrete and exhaust fumes. But in Galefu, your children will wake up every morning to the singing of real birds, not the roar of engines. They will walk to school through green fields and gardens, not past noisy, dirty highways. They will breathe air that doesn't need filtering. They will see real stars in the night sky. Sounds good? Then here's an even more amazing fact. It's already happening. On a giant construction site in Bhutan, thousands of people are at work, and every day volunteers join them. Farmers, officials, students, monks. Even the king himself has come here several times with his children to take part in the construction with his own hands. In March 2024, production of the first bridge sections began. In June, the foundation for the airport was completed. In September, work began on utility networks. In December, construction of residential neighborhoods started. The scale of this unusual project impresses even experienced Chinese builders. The city will consist of 11 ribbon districts, organically woven into the landscape among 35 rivers and streams. The famous architectural studio BIG, led by Bjarke Ingels, created a design inspired by traditional Bhutanese dzongs, fortress monasteries. Take the international airport, for example. In Dubai, it's a giant shopping mall with runways, where passengers spend money in countless stores. In Tokyo, it's a high-tech machine with robots, but no soul. But in Galefu, the airport is being built as a living garden. You walk in and see not sterile corridors, but real ancient trees growing from the earthen floor. Sunlight through a transparent roof lights up courtyards with mountain streams, where you can meditate while waiting for your flight. The structure is completely modular. If more space is needed, they simply add sections like building blocks. And the most incredible thing, the entire airport stands on a bridge over a mountain river. Underneath it, crystal clear water keeps flowing, wild fish swim, algae grow, technology and nature in absolute harmony. As the city's governor, Dr. Lotte Chering, says, the fish in the river won't even notice that an airport has been built above their home. The terminal is decorated with colorful wooden beams called kachin, traditional Bhutanese decorative columns. Inside, there will be living trees and inner courtyards where passengers can stroll among the greenery. Now imagine a bridge that houses a modern hospital inside. Patients receive treatment while looking through panoramic windows at the river flowing below them and the snow-capped peaks of the Himalayas rising in the distance. Doctors practice the most advanced Western medicine in centuries-old Tibetan techniques in a single space. The stress of illness is eased by the atmosphere itself, the sound of water, the mountain air, the harmony with nature. Studies show that patients in such an environment recover 40% faster than in traditional hospitals with white walls and artificial lighting. Or consider a hydroelectric power plant that is also a Buddhist temple. This is the city's main landmark, the Sankosh Temple Dam. It's not a rough industrial structure, but an architectural masterpiece inspired by the ancient step wells of India and Tibet. Worshippers come here to pray and admire the water, which gives both spiritual energy to the soul and electricity to the city. Bjarke Ingels calls this dam a monument of the 21st century, like the Tiger's Nest, the famous monastery perched on a cliff. Stepped terraces lead to the temple in the center of the structure. The turbines operate completely silently, preserving the sacred silence. Every element of the city under construction is thought out to the smallest detail. The roads are covered with a permeable material made from recycled rice husks, which soaks up rainwater like a sponge. Buildings are constructed from local wood, stone, and bamboo, which is 10 times cheaper than imported concrete and steel. The roofs are covered with living grass that cleans the air and regulates temperature. A system of green corridors cuts through the entire city, allowing wild animals to move freely. Asian elephants, Bengal tigers, snow leopards, Himalayan bears can cross the area without coming into contact with people. Bhutan is home to 105 species of rhododendron, the national flower, 675 species of birds, and 200 species of mammals. All of them will find a place in and around the new city, but the most brilliant part is the approach to water. While other cities spend billions fighting against nature by building concrete dams, Gulaphu works with nature. The river overflows during the rainy season. Special terraced rice fields are designed to absorb the water, prevent flooding, and feed the city with eco-friendly rice. These fields form urban terraces cascading from the hills into the valley. And here arises the question, if such a miracle is possible, why hasn't it been done in other countries? The economic model of the new city is revolutionary. Instead of promising cheap labor, Bhutan focuses on quality of life. Studies prove happy employees are 31% more productive, their sales are 37% higher, task accuracy is 3 times better. They get sick 10 times less often and stay with a company 7 years longer. More than 70 IT companies from India, Singapore, and South Korea have already expressed interest in the Gulaphu project. Microsoft and Samsung are even conducting studies on creating Asian development centers here. A programmer who in India spends 4 hours commuting and breathes smog will in Gulaphu live in a house with a garden, just 5 minutes from the office, surrounded by blooming fields and gardens. His productivity will multiply, his stress will disappear, and his creative potential will fully unfold. But Gulaphu is not just a paradise for programmers. A teacher here will be able to give lessons in classrooms with panoramic windows facing the Himalayas, where children study math in the morning and meditate in the school garden after lunch. His salary and reasonable prices will allow him to live in a house with his own vegetable garden, not rent a room in a shared apartment. A doctor will work in the Bridge Hospital, where the very process of healing becomes therapy for the soul. No night shifts in overcrowded wards, no burnout from endless streams of patients. Here, medicine is an art, not a conveyor belt. A retiree will not live out his days in a tiny apartment, afraid to go outside. He will become a wise mentor to young people, engage in traditional crafts, and take part in festivals. In a city where old age is not a burden, but a treasure chest of experience. And families with children? Imagine your child playing not on an asphalt playground surrounded by roads and endless exhaust fumes, but in a real forest under the care of trained teachers. He learns not only English and math, but also the language of nature. How trees grow, how birds sing, how water flows. The road to school runs not along noisy, polluted highways, but through picturesque gardens and bamboo groves. No tutors, no race for grades. Here, education is the joy of discovery, not stress. Children grow up physically healthy, emotionally balanced, and spiritually rich. The education system combines the best global practices with Bhutanese traditions. Children will study quantum physics and meditation, robotics and Buddhist philosophy, biotechnology, and traditional medicine. The goal is to raise a generation that creates new technologies in harmony with nature. The city's energy system of the future has no equal. 100% of its electricity will come from small hydro plants and solar panels, built into rooftops and even window panes. This will create an energy surplus that will be sold to India, providing the city with a stable income. By 2035, Gellifu plans to become one of the largest exporters of clean energy in South Asia. The transportation system is designed so that private cars are unnecessary. From any home to work, you can walk in no more than 15 minutes along shady alleys. For longer trips, electric buses powered by hydrogen fuel cells and bicycles. A high-speed rail line will cut the trip to the capital from 2 hours to 30 minutes. India has already promised to build a railway connection to the city from the border. The medical system is based primarily on prevention: clean mountain air, healthy food, absence of stress, active lifestyle. Regular meditation will make most civilization-related diseases impossible here. Hospitals will look like spa resorts with mountain views, where Western and Eastern medicine work together. Future residents will be able to take part in ancient Chechu festivals with mass dances, shoot traditional bows, learn weaving and wood carving from local masters. Open-air theaters will be located among rice terraces and concert halls, in natural caves with stunning acoustics. Of course, skeptics say the project is utopian, but current results are impressive. Already, several thousand young Bhutanese working abroad have shown interest in this incredible experiment and plan to return home. All universities in the country have launched training programs for Gellifu. Dozens of international companies are exploring the possibility of opening future offices in the new city. The idea has proven contagious. Representatives from Costa Rica, New Zealand, Denmark, and Finland are studying Bhutan's experience. Mayors of major cities from London to Tokyo are considering elements of the Bhutan model. Paris plans to create islands of happiness inspired by Gellifu. Amsterdam is already testing a system for measuring residents' well-being. Dr. Lotte Tshering, former prime minister and current governor of the city, admits, "We're not yet good enough to handle such complex projects on our own, but we're ready to work hand in hand with the world's best experts and learn from them." Prime Minister Tshering Tobgay says in an interview with Time, "The happiness and well-being of people must be the main goal of capitalism. We're creating a new paradigm, a completely new system of urban development." Bhutan clearly shows progress doesn't have to mean higher, faster, bigger, not glass skyscrapers and superhighways. True progress is when people live well in harmony with nature, when children play on the streets without fear, when work brings joy, not burnout. Very soon a new landmark will appear on the world map, not for the rich, not for the fastest, but for those who want to be happy. The City of Wisdom will open in 2029, but its influence is already spreading. Architectural firms are rethinking their projects. Governments are beginning to consider that economic growth doesn't always mean a better quality of life. Corporations understand happy employees are the best investment. Perhaps in a generation, Gellifu will become a true paradise for everyone building their future, a place of pilgrimage for those who have realized happiness can and must be built, not bought, not won in a lottery, but created with your own hands. And then our children will live not in dead stone labyrinths, but in blooming oases of life, where technology serves the soul, not crushes it, where wealth is not what you have, but who you've become.